Disclaimer. At Two Addicts and a Moron, we discuss personal stories of addiction with the intention of being educational, relatable, and inspirational. The views and experiences shared are those of individuals involved, are not meant to glorify or condone any illegal or harmful behavior. This content is for educational purposes only and is not intended as professional advice. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, we strongly encourage you seek help from a qualified professional or support service. And we are back to Two Addicts and a Moron, another episode. Missed you boys and ladies like crazy. And we have a very special yet close guest to the podcast. Someone that I would argue was pretty instrumental in getting this thing built, you know. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, Destiny O'Brien. Hey. Destiny, how do you know Mike?
I am his fiance, soon to be wife.
All right. And Mike, how do you feel about that?
I never thought, we were talking about this last night. I never thought that I would get married again.
Yeah.
After my first one, I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
it's just not in the cards. I'll just be a dad from now on until I met Destiny. And then when I met her, I was like, yeah, I'm still not going to get married. And then I couldn't get rid of her. And she kept staying around and staying around. Nah, it's, she literally, like, right now is the happiest that I've ever been. And I couldn't find a girl that loves me more than she does. I mean, sometimes it's silly because I do some really ratchet shit.
Yeah.
And,
First of all, I love you more.
Yeah, for that.
Yeah, because of that.
I mean,
like in spite of all of that.
I shotgun the back of the toilet bowl all the time.
I scrape it off every day.
Hey. All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is the love right there. That is the love.
She told me the other day, she said, I don't know how you get it above the water, but how did you get it on the...
Oh, it's on the brim of it, like where the water comes out of. How the fuck do you get it that high
like
up?
on the underseat? Like
Yes.
it has like freckles.
Bro, when I'm sitting,
Yes.
it's just...
The underseat has freckles.
Yes, how?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
it can get violent. It can get
Oh,
violent.
Lord.
And then she texted me, I'll say this last one. She texted me the other day, and I'm reading this text, and it's like, hey, this is the last time I'm going to ask you. So we have a stand-up shower in our master bathroom.
Yeah.
Well, in the morning, when you have morning wood, it's not easy to go pee.
Yeah.
So I just pee in the shower.
Okay.
Right? And then most of the time, I wash it out.
Yeah.
You never washed it out until like this
Okay,
week.
anyways, so she's
Don't
like,
lie.
so I get a text, and it's like, this is the last time I'm going to ask you, stop pissing in the shower. It's bad enough that you don't rinse it out, but I go to find my hairbrush, and there's piss all over it.
Oh, dude.
And as I'm reading it, because I already start laughing, and she knows me so well, and I know you're fucking laughing right now about it. Yeah.
Oh
Well, that's awesome. Well, Des, thanks for coming on. And I know this was a bit of a last minute thing, and I know you're pretty nervous about it.
No, fuck
and, oh, fuck yeah. So I know your story is filled with a lot of turns, and it's pretty intense. So what is your experience with addiction?
So when it started off, it was the basic, like doing high school stuff, like on the weekends or whatever. I started smoking weed and drinking when I was 15. And there were things that like led up to that for sure. And then smoking cigarettes, I'm trying to like rebel against like everybody in my life. And then, within a few years, it started like ramming up a little bit as shit started rolling in my life and pieces started falling into place. That's when I started like picking up. I started doing cocaine. I started doing acid, shrooms, like 24/7. That was like one of the main things that I did. And then by the time that I had turned 18, I had left my mom's house and got an apartment. And in the span of 4 months, I was on fentanyl, MDMA, couldn't hold down a job to save my life. Couldn't afford my rent. I'm living with fucking 7 or 8 people I don't even know. Like in a studio fucking apartment. People are sleeping in my bathtub. There's some chick laying on my kitchen floor. Don't know who she is, but hope she's all right. Kind of situation.
Wow. And so, fentanyl, how did you get into that? Were you shooting it or?
I was smoking it, and the first person who introduced me to that was actually my brother.
Okay. And your brother has a little bit of a
Oh yeah.
past with fentanyl too,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yes.
This is kind of affected a bunch of people in your family.
Yes.
And so, I mean, do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Not at all. My brother was always a very like spirited person, like the kind of person like walks in a room and like just lights it up by smiling. Everybody loved him. I was the weird ass, and growing up, like I had no friends. He was my only friend in middle school and most of high school. And at the time there was a family member of ours that had him like working on like lots and stuff, like some real like child labor shit. Working on these lots on container homes and stuff, and he'd be out there 2-3 days at a time, not coming home. And that's when like he started getting to be more different. Like no one really knew what was going on, but he was like, showing up in a different way and not as happy, and very erratic. And by the time he was like about 13 or 14 years old, and I would say like 7th or 8th grade, he was getting in trouble every day. Like it gotten to the point where he had gotten caught selling Captain Morgan shots in the bathroom for like $12 a pop. Like fucking really like having a business, getting suspended. He got suspended the first week of high school too, fucking doing the same shit. And then after that, like we ended up moving. My mom and stepdad got divorced. We ended up moving to Fort Worth. And that's when the shit really started to hit the fan. Because now me and him were both being ripped out of a current situation and putting it into an entire new place, and that just made everything like more uncomfortable. We were driving like almost every day, like skipping school, especially during COVID. Like we didn't have to show up anymore. It was all online. And it all like the main thing started to kick off when we got invited to a hotel party, the two of us. My mom said yes, and we went, and it was a really fun night. Some drinking, some smoking, some weed or whatever. And then after that, he stopped coming home. Like we had spent like probably like 2 days there, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home now. I'm kind of tuckered out, and he stayed. And then I came back about 3 days later to pick him up. My mom was like, this motherfucker needs to come home. And I knocked on that door, and he's like wide-eyed, fucking looks not at all the same, like tweaked out of his mind. And I had no idea what was going on. I just assumed like, oh, he's like really off the shit right now, and he probably needs to, go home and sleep. He refused to come home. Like I went next door and was helping out some lady. They were like conjoining rooms, and she was like, oh yeah, your brother's on that ice. And I was like, holy shit, like he's gonna be just like my dad. Freaked out about it. And then after that, it was meth for a while, heroin by the end of high school for me with him. And then he was in and out of jail. Like he had caught in his first case when he was 15, went in for a year, got out, went right back in. And it was just like on and off, in and out all the time. Until like more recently when he got a pretty heavy sentence this time.
Yeah. Yeah. And he got in, correct me if I'm wrong, but he got in trouble for dealing fentanyl, right?
Yes.
And it's alleged that he was one that gave somebody where they ended up passing away.
Yes.
And so he's doing some big boy time right now. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's rough. Mm-hmm. That's rough. So I mean, do you think that you've had more of an experience watching other people be addicted than yourself?
Definitely.
Yeah, because
I watched this bright boy. I mean, so intelligent, so good in school, life of the party, go from being a cool kid with surfer boy hair and always just loving life to being a kind of a piece of shit, like treating everybody terribly, watching him change, not showing up for people. He's falling asleep at family gatherings. He's the last time that I saw him, we actually tried to help him get sober. He said he was ready. He came and we got him a hotel to detox, and then for a few days, and then we got him a free detox through a friend of ours.
A free rehab. 90-day rehab.
Yeah. And when he showed up, we got him a bus ticket. He showed up, and I didn't realize how bad things had gotten until I went to hug him, and I literally felt his bones crack.
Yeah.
Like his eyes were like yellow. The whites of his eyes were yellow. And I mean, you can tell he just was like right on the brink of death. Like it definitely is. I feel like when you're doing something yourself, you're not seeing it the same way. Like you look in the mirror every day and you see yourself slowly changing. So it's not as extravagant, I think. But when you watch someone that you love go from being incredible to being not the person that they were, it's heartbreaking.
Especially when you're sober, when you get to watch it.
Oh my God.
Like
yeah.
when we're using together, like I'm not going to notice how bad you look and
No,
vice
because
versa.
we were on the same stuff for a while, and we
Right.
hung out quite a bit, actually. It was when I got clean and moved to Austin that, like, we went almost a year without seeing each other.
Yeah, see, so this is like the part that I missed with him, right? Because I met him and he was already on it. So I knew him when he was on it. So it's kind of like in a little bit of reverse, right? Like I saw him struggle and then watched him get better, right? Like you had to watch normal, right? To not normal to where it ended up getting.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a crazy experience for somebody that
Fucking
you're.
roller coaster.
Yeah, I
It's
bet.
terrible.
I bet. Well, so, how long is he in for?
He got sentenced for 19 years. He just turned 20 in February.
Man.
So he is a child. At the end of the day, like, he's probably gonna have to do close to what, like
10.
between 8 to 10 years before he can even get parole. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be rough. And I know that parents might have had a little bit of a struggle too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think that the bridge just kind of hit you naturally
Oh,
just from the example that was being set?
100%. Me and my brother definitely suffered in that sense in different ways.
Isn't the first person you got high with was your mom?
First person I got high with was Caden,
Okay.
but I did get high with my mom. Except like all throughout my sophomore and junior year, that's all I did was smoke and do shit with my mom.
And
but
for people that don't know, where was your dad?
in prison,
Prison.
Yeah.
So he was never around.
no. I'm sure that as a child, like 3, 4, whatever years old, I hadn't met him before, but not that I actually remember. Like I was too young to actually remember that, and he never made an impact. The first time I actually met him was when I was 16, and he had gotten out of prison after doing I want to say like it was like 9 consecutive years that he was in, or something like that.
Well, he made an impact, just a negative one.
Oh fuck
Just
yeah,
not a positive one.
yeah. I met him once. We had dinner with him when he first got out. Most uncomfortable family reunion of my entire life. Like that was an interesting situation. And then I hung out with him 3 more times after that, and then he wanted nothing to do with me again because he was so busy doing the drugs and stuff. And then my mom, in my younger years, I want to say between the ages of 0 to 5 years old or whatever, she was on meth and I believe crack as well. But the whole parenting thing is like it affects people differently. Like not having a father in the home is gonna affect any child. But like I just talked to my brother before this too. And I told him about this, and he said, he agreed with me in the sense of like not having a father as a girl. It's different because I didn't know what a man was supposed to be like.
Right.
My brother tried his best to like be the man of the house, but at the end of the day, he's a boy.
Yeah, he's a
know,
kid.
I never had like a man to show me like this is the respect that you deserve from people and on more to that point from men in general.
Tell a man's supposed to treat you.
Yeah, and then like it gives you a sense of like like for Kaylin, for example, like you as a father, I watched you build her up in a way that like, you know, her mom is wonderful, but you build her up in a whole different area of life. She needs the both of y'all, right? And she finds a lot of like when you tell her a story and she repeats it back to you with the details and stuff, to see you light up over that and her know that like you're proud of her how she does in sports and stuff. Those arenas that you take care of are very much so like building up who she is. She knows that like she deserves this. She knows that dad's got her and everything, right? Whereas like I didn't have that, neither did my younger sister. Whereas my brother was trying to learn how to be a good man from a woman who didn't respect herself.
Right. So I've said that a lot. Maybe not on here, but I have a son, I have a daughter, and I remain pretty close to their mother. You know, it's a similar dynamic as you and Kaylin's mom. And it's a lot of people don't get it. It's hard when you're dealing with relationships. It's tough to watch that be tight, right? But I've always fallen back on this. It's like, what kind of a man am I raising if the only woman that he loves unconditionally and she loves him back, which is mother, son, right? There's no conditions around that at all. If I don't treat her with love and respect, what am I saying to him on how to treat another woman? And the same thing for my daughter, like, right? And kind of the other, what kind of bar am I setting for her to be if the only woman and the woman that she looks up to, her dad, is not nice or mean or something other than respectful to her, right?
100%, yeah.
And it's, man, the dichotomy of that, though, it's like, because Mike and I, we pride ourselves on the dad, like, right, on being the dad. And sometimes it's hard because you do need a little bit of the tough love sometimes. And that's like the worst. That's the worst thing to do. And having someone like yourself or Amy, for me, because she will point things out for me sometimes that she's like, you're just fucking giving him whatever he wants, like, just like, and I have to, you really have to think about that. So it's, I don't, so for you specifically, I'm glad that you have found the other end, but in life, you're always going to have the examples of who to be like, what to be, how to be it. But you can draw just as much power from what not to be like. Those examples of, I don't fucking want to be like that, right? Like, and you can pick and choose. You can make a silver lining out of anything. Yeah. Right. And so it sounds like you kind of have.
I credit most of that to Mike. Like, I fully intended that, like, and the way that my mom raised me is the way that I thought parenting should 100% be.
Yeah, we talked about that early on in your guys' being together.
Oh,
we had a private conversation in here before, and I remember having that conversation with you.
Yeah,
you were like you were like a little jealous.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I'm actually glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's some real shit. It used to piss me off when he'd say, "Why are you getting jealous over a 7-year-old?" I was so pissed. I was like, because I didn't think I was being jealous. I was like, well, you shouldn't give her this and you shouldn't give her that, right? Because I'm not understanding the whole process behind it, right? And then I realized after like really breaking it down to myself and actually talking to my sponsor too, was that I'm watching him be the dad that I didn't have.
Right.
Like real daddy issues here. Like this is the shit. We're gonna get into this stuff, but like it is a big deal to me because I watch his daughter, like he has never missed a game. Like I don't think even one ever.
I've never missed anything.
No. Every practice he's there, every game, he shows up to everything. Like and like my mom, it was a struggle to even get her to show up to fucking choir performance, meet the teacher thing, fucking anything wasn't happening. Like, and I'm watching his daughter grow up with this, like, wondrous thing. And it does, in like my mind, I guess, draw back to like, well, like shit, God, what did I do to not deserve that?
Well, I mean, it's
know?
also like maybe you look at that too, and this is easy to do. It's an easy trap to fall in, but it's like, what did I didn't have that, of course. And I don't know what I'm really trying to say here. But also maybe from you looking at it from her eyes, why don't you appreciate that more?
Oh, 100%.
Or like, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, a kid, and we have friends, kids, and we all have different parenting styles. But one thing that a mom said was like, they should just know how good they've got it. And I would argue, no, they don't. They don't need to know that.
Yeah.
And
that is something that I've realized even more recently, like within the last 6 months, is like, it's not my place to say what she should know or what she shouldn't. Also, like, I hope to God that she never has to experience any sort of feeling the way that I felt growing up, or, know, that kind of pain. That's something I'm really grateful for, that I get to be a part of something so awesome. Like, I'm not her parent, but I get to be in some sense a part of raising her. And like, I am, she calls me her bonus mom. And the first time she said it, like, made me cry. I was like, don't look at me. Don't look at me. I was sick the other day in the car, and I'm having Mike like speed home, and she's like rubbing me in the back seat, like rubbing my back, and she's like, "Are you okay? Like, your Dad's gonna make you feel better, okay? And if you want anything," like, I told her one day, "Oh, I don't have the money right now to do that." She goes, "I have $4. You can have it." I'm like, he's raising such a kind child that it like blows my mind. Whereas for me growing up, I think like I was raised in such a like kind of shitty situation that like me and my siblings and my mom were all very selfish for what we had, because we had so little that we held on to it with like a white knuckle grip.
Right. Well, with that little girl too, she had to take care of you on several, I would only imagine several occasions.
Occasions.
So I think that would probably be part of that compassion that she's just going to have to be that nurturer.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I'm glad she has it. It's kind of like you, man. I'm glad that you went through what you went through to be you right now. Right. I hate that she might have had to do some shit that we would have not wanted her to do.
Yeah. Something I would never want her to do now.
Right. Is to take care of me. Right. And you might not have even realized it at the time.
Yeah. I remember her mom told me one time, she's like, "How come Kaylin had to take care of you this weekend?" I was like, "'Cause I was sick." And she's like, "She's 5.
Yeah.
Like, why was she having to make you? She don't even make herself cereal now, and she's 9.
Yeah.
Why was she having to make you cereal and stuff for the weekend?" And I couldn't tell her mom because I was dope sick that whole weekend, But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, she went through some of those things, and I don't beat myself up over it anymore, because I know that she learned like some valuable lessons from it. And I know that she'll never have to go through it again.
Right.
Right. So.
Well, she came out on the other end being like that to you, right?
Yes.
Like
100%.
in having.
I think a lot of that comes from like the way that she is it comes from, she also watches her daddy always taking care of other people. Like when someone calls, he answers that phone. If somebody needs something, he's there. Like, and she's getting to grow up and see like her dad is so helpful. Like, and I think she wants to be that same way, and it's a really beautiful thing.
She told me the other day, whenever we get too old for this podcast, she wants to take it over.
Okay.
She said, "I want to take the podcast over."
Well, you need to tell her that she's signed up for the moron spot immediately. She is not allowed to be the addict.
She can't be the addict.
She cannot be the addict. That's not going to be acceptable for that one. Although I don't think we have much to worry about with her.
No, she's good.
Being pretty heavily involved. So, how'd you meet Mike?
Oh, I met him at a meeting.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Romantic. Yeah, candlelit. Those are pretty dim lighted, it's setting the mood pretty well.
Yeah.
And is a good thing with Billy Bob Thornton over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like 13 days clean, like still coming off a lot of shit. And just like not doing well at all. And I went to this meeting randomly. Like my sober living ladies were like, "You have got to go to a meeting. You can't stay here all day." was like, okay, cool, I'll go to a meeting. I went to the closest one, and I didn't even like see him first. He had walked by me, and I smelled his cologne, and I was like, ooh, I want that one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want whatever that is, right? And he sat down, and he actually had Kaylin with him at the time too. I was like, oh, okay. I kept looking at him through the whole meeting and everything, and I was like, man, he's so cute. Like, just watch him. And then, you know, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, man, he really is fine. He's a meth addict. He's got all his teeth, most of them at least. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
When that meeting ended, though,
Pretty low bar there, Des.
I know.
He's got all his teeth. Hey, he's got all his
my
teeth
God.
and he smells good.
Really shot high.
I
there.
want that one.
Yeah.
Shot out of a cannon.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
Brought his kid to a meeting. Fucking,
Yeah, there's a guy.
no hope for this guy.
All the way to the top.
Yeah, and I think, like, when the meeting ended, too, like, we had been, like, kind of looking at each other in the meeting, like, kind of checking each other out. But when the meeting ended, I took off. Like, I was not in a place to talk to anybody either. And then I came back the next day, and he was there. Same thing. I'm doing the bat in my eyes. I'm, like, trying to, like, get him to notice me,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And then, you know, I left the meeting. He didn't talk to me. And then as I'm walking to my car, he followed me down to the parking lot, and he goes, hey, I'm Stu. I was like, oh, hey, Stu. He goes, you know, I know a lot of women in the program, so if you give me your number, I'll connect you with them. I was like, oh, okay.
But I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
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 I'm here to help you.
And then it went off from there. Funny thing is, though, like something that I actually told you recently was when he told me his name was Stu, he never said Mike. He didn't just Stu.
Yeah.
I had him in my phone for like 2 weeks as Stuart.
Yeah. He fucking
Oh my God.
he fucking introduces himself as Stu to everyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and if it wasn't for Ramon, our buddy, him telling me that you were coming over, he's like, yeah, my buddy Mike is coming over. And then you got there, and I was like, hey, how you doing? I'm Joey. And you were like, Stu. I was like, yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Funny part is he wants to get mad when people like we're at Chick-fil-A or Starbucks, whatever, and instead of saying Mike, like when you hear Mike, you know how to spell it. It's pretty easy, right? He says Stu, it's coming out like Stew, like
Yeah.
he's getting mad. And I'm like, just tell them your name. It's so much simpler. But he's always got to be extra.
oh, dude, this is the most extra dude. Maybe the most extra dude I've ever met.
We'll be 30 minutes down the road, like on our way late to do something, and he's like, "I forgot my chain. We got to turn around." Are you fucking kidding me right
Yeah.
now? You're gonna drive 30
I just
minutes
checked
back?
just now to make sure I
Yes.
had it.
Yeah.
We were going to pause this
Like,
fucking thing
oh my
for a
God.
second. So do you want to talk about your childhood?
Sure.
Okay. So how do you think growing up, like you grew up with a single mom, right? And your dad wasn't around. And you had your brother and your sister. And then you also have 3 other siblings from the same dad,
Yes.
right? Like he's just makes a lot of babies.
He's busy.
He's busy.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because he's been in prison a lot. So when he gets out, he's just like, phew. But anyways, how do you think your childhood affected you using? Because I know that you were really big in church and you sing really good and you have a great voice and you sang in the choir and you were really big in church. How do you think your childhood affected that? And did things happen in your childhood that steered you to using, besides the examples that were set for you?
Yeah, so like grew up in kind of like I grew up in Riverside in Fort Worth, which is like not a good fucking
Not
area.
a good spot.
You know, and then with the single mom thing, like we were always bouncing around from place to place because, you know, we could only like afford to live for so long, you know. And my mom would work at a breakfast place till 2 and then go straight from there to a bar. I was always with a babysitter. When we didn't have a place to live, I was, you know, we were couch hopping or we stayed in a few motels, like growing up and stuff. Like,
Damn.
we did not do well. Like, obviously, and I say this with like a grain of salt, like, I was so young, I don't remember much of that. I had a great time. Sleepovers all the time. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. But I know it was definitely a struggle. And like my mom was so young too. My mom had me at 18. And so she didn't know what the fuck she was doing.
For sure.
You know, like doesn't know what she's doing. And then all the people around her too are, you know, her friends or closest people don't know what they're doing either. They're so young. And those were the people who looked after me. You know, my play aunts and uncles. You know,
Yeah.
and so just always kind of like moving around as a kid, and like, you know, I think the one thing that really like kind of saved me is I always had a friend. Like I always had, me and Caden are 14 months apart.
Yeah.
You know, so we were always, you know, friends. My sister was only a baby at the time, really like maybe like 2 years old too. But, you know, my mom worked so much, and then she was also on drugs. I mean, in my life, I've been taken away by CPS 14 different times,
14.
and almost always given back with between 48 hours to like a week, because CPS doesn't like filling out paperwork.
Fuck, man. And I mean, what's it like going through CPS? Like through the eyes of a child? Like I'm sorry for asking you this, but I kind of think it's important to know
It's
too.
really kind of a roller coaster feeling. Like there is that concern. I remember being a kid and my mom having like kind of trained us on like what to say when people of authority talk to us, right? Like, you know, and then I had gotten so well versed in talking to CPS that it was like, does your mom smoke? Nope. She doesn't smoke any kind of like cigarettes, special cigarettes. Nope. Nope. Is she home a lot with you? Absolutely. Does she work a lot? Are you with a lot of babysitters? No. My mom is very involved, right? Like, yeah, as a kid, answering these questions like off the fly, like being trained to know exactly what to say, right? I remember, right before my mom had gotten married, to my stepdad, I was at school and was getting out of school. I remember like I got called over the intercom, and I went to the office. You know, all the kids are ooh, you know, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what I did, but went there and they're asking me all the same questions. You know, does your mom hide anything in her room? Does she have like a special drawer or a safe or anything? Like, just trying to like answer the questions the way I'm supposed to. And then, you know, I went back to class. Lady left, and after school, I thought I was being kidnapped. Some lady walked up to me and like, you know, was like, hey, we're gonna get in your car, we're gonna go to the hospital. Like, my brother had gotten my sister at 2 years old took a brush to the back of my brother's head, my brother's head, and had like a cut in it pretty deep. He needed stitches. My mom didn't take him. Like, he was bleeding bad. My mom didn't take him because my mom was fucking irresponsible and on drugs.
And how old?
My sister was 2.
No, how old were you?
I was 5.
Whoa.
So your brother was 4?
Yeah. And so he had a big ass gash. He still has a scar like in the back of his head. He needed stitches, and my mom just didn't take him. And so they took that as like another thing of like, okay, we need to get these kids out of this house. And, you know, initially like the lady was like, we're gonna get in my car, we're gonna go there or whatever. And, you know, I got in with her eventually. Thank God it was actually like a person of like real authority. And I remember my mom was crying. They were talking about, you know, taking us away. They're trying to do a drug test on my mom. You know those lollipop drug tests, right? That shit would not turn into a sponge. She could not squeeze it between her teeth. They had her do another one. Wasn't working. And then at that point, they were like, we're going to put these kids in the foster system. And so my mom was calling everybody, like my aunts, uncles, fucking trying to find me a home to stay in. But no one's taking in 3 kids indefinitely, like they don't know how long. And so my mom was signing the papers to go into the foster system. And my stepdad's mom called and was like, I'll take all 3 of them. Which, like,
He wasn't your stepdad yet, right?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. They got married when I was like 6.5, turning 7.
Okay.
But she took us in, and she is a saint of a woman. Like, took us to church. That's how I got involved in the church. Is she would take us to church. She would like get me in the kids choir. I was learning how to like, you know, serve the coffee or whatever to the back of the singers in the church. And I got baptized under her care. I was with her for about like, I want to say like between 3 to 4 months. I lived with her, and my siblings did too. And she just gave us like so much of like, she got us in school, you know, and I went to that elementary school for like the last like 2 or 3 years or whatever before my parents getting married or whatever. But like the CPS thing was always like that. Like, and then I had several more like interactions with CPS, you know, before now. But yeah, it really is kind of a roller coaster of emotions. But I also was so well trained, like, to just know what to say. And like, not, you know, you do what's best for the family is what my mom always said. Do what's best for the family, and don't say anything that's going to get you in trouble. So you just don't talk about, you know, you make everything sound so amazing that like whatever. And when we didn't, we got in fucking trouble, not just because like getting taken away, but my mom would usually be like pretty pissed off that we made her sound bad.
Damn. Excuse me. So, 14 times. Mm-hmm. You're basically, I mean, from what you're telling me, you're like the protector of the family because these people are going to come talk to you. You being the eldest.
I definitely had a lot of weight on my shoulders growing up, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. You being a protector.
Yeah. You
protected your family.
You were protecting.
You were protecting your family when your mom couldn't protect your family.
Mm-hmm.
But also not because you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's not your fault. I'm not saying that it is.
Yeah,
you were just
but like lying to put us in a worse situation instead of
or
getting
keep
us out
you
of it.
and keep you in there.
Mm-hmm.
And accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability is a motherfucker. And
I think the more stressful thing too is like we were never really gone for more than like maybe 72 hours. Like we would go and like stay with someone or like CPS like. I don't know if they still have, but they used to have these like offices in the back that had like bunk beds and toys and stuff. And you would stay there at the office for a couple of days or whatever and hang out. And then they'd bring you back or they'd send you into a foster care program. We never got sent into the foster care program. We kept coming back.
Didn't you find out here recently? Well, I know you found out that at some time during your young childhood,
Yeah.
there was a family that actually took you for like a year.
Yeah.
And they were was they a Mexican family that taught you Spanish
Yes.
a little bit?
Yeah.
That's something she just found out here recently. You want to talk about
Absolutely. Yeah. I was talking to my aunt and uncle and they were talking about like, do you remember your abuelita and abuelito? And I was like, no, I don't have one of those. You know, like, she said, yeah, this family took you in for a year and they've actually been close to my dad's side of the family their entire life. They took us in for a year and like, they were telling me that, I had a bedroom there, like my own bedroom, and they got like, birthday cakes and toys, and they even converted their garage into a playroom for us. Like they loved us so much or whatever, taught us how to speak Spanish. We had like a big family, tamales on Christmas, like making them all together and everything. And my mom was so like upset about them, like trying to like raise us and take a for their own. Like my mom, I think, got mad that I was learning how to speak Spanish and then showed up with the cops and took us back one day and like broke their hearts. Like all of the photos I have as a kid, like I don't have any of them. They have them or whatever. But like, I'm hoping to get those back someday.
Yeah, you don't have many photos from childhood.
I don't. No, I don't. I had one picture as a baby, but it's so faded that like I can't even see what I look like. It's literally I can see my feet in the picture. That's it.
Yeah.
Damn. So, what's life looking like for you now?
Oh, it's awesome. Like I definitely like Mike has shown me like a new way of life, not just in the sense of like like we do go more places and we like, have a house and everything, and it's fucking wonderful. It's something I never thought I'd have.
You have a podcast studio in your house.
It's fucking crazy. I woke up the next day and it was just here. Like it was wild.
I want to get back to that. I want you to finish. So keep going, but remind me of the podcast studio and it coming up because I want that from your viewpoint as well.
What was I talking about?
Talking about how your life is now.
Oh yeah, but like Mike's also given me like a different like moral code to live by. I guess like you've really changed me for the better in like every single way possible. Like my patience has grown. I'm like so much more optimistic than I used to. I used to be like, oh, everything's just gonna be terrible. I had
Fucking
no
negative,
faith.
Negative
like,
nanny.
oh, it was terrible. And, I wasn't very kind. I wasn't always very, I was not very truthful. Like, I had more faults than I even care to admit. And, like, you really turned that around for me. And, teaching me how to be a better person. Like, I credit all of that to you, truly.
Well, it takes you to be able to change that, too.
Yeah.
And I never faulted you, like, in our beginning of our relationship, like, when I would catch you in, like, little lies. Mm-hmm. Because I knew that you were telling me these lies so I wouldn't leave, right? And maybe because you thought that I would judge you for your past and the person that you was, not the person that you are. But I know that the person that you was during your addiction isn't the person that you are. Well, I mean, it's none of us. None of us are, right? And I've seen you grow so much in the last couple of years. Like when you and Kaylin do y'all's little shit that y'all do now, like there's nothing that brings me more joy than when y'all are doing girl shit, or when like you're showing her how to, even though I fucking hate makeup, when you're showing her like, well, this is how you do this and this is how you do that, or like fucking like when you're doing her hair and stuff. Like that's something like when I met you, that those are things you wouldn't have done.
I didn't have the patience for her.
Yeah.
She's a very like energetic child,
Man.
and I did not have it in me to deal with that at the time. But now I'm realizing like that's another thing too, is like I was raised in like you don't speak unless you're spoken to. Children should be seen and not heard. Like I didn't have an opinion. I wasn't allowed to. God forbid, like I do a cartwheel in the living room, I'm getting my ass beat black and blue. Like
when Caitlin used to say stuff to me, she would look at me like, "Oh shit, here it goes."
Yeah.
I was like,
she's about to get busted up.
You know, when he'd be sitting there and she's getting riled up and I'm like, fucking world star, like fucking hit her. Like I'm just like really like sitting there, and then when he's like, you know, you need to apologize or whatever, and she's like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like, what in the fuck? She didn't need to get beat for that? That's crazy. But it was right off the rip for me. And so like, you know, things are so much more different. I'm realizing now that like the way that I was raised, I wasn't really raised to be like a kid. You know, I had so much responsibility even at like a young age that like the fun thing for me wasn't like that childhood wonder wasn't there for me, whereas it is for her. Like she is, I see her and I'm like, she's almost 10 years old. She's supposed to be like this, right? And that's how I was at 10 years old. But she's just being like a normal child.
Yeah. Yeah. Being a normal kid to someone like yourself with your upbringing, there's got to be some, and especially with it being in your own home, that's got to be some pretty crazy like thoughts and feelings behind that. And to grow into it is something that I'm for sure very proud of you for doing, because we've talked before. You know, Mike's out and I'm waiting for him to get here because he's late all the time.
Yes.
and we would sit here and talk. We'd have like a couple of really good conversations, and I remember you telling me some of these feelings
Yeah, I was
that you had
struggling.
about it. You were just like, I just don't know what to, and I'm like, it's just kind of normal shit that's going on in your house, and you weren't raised around normal shit. Like,
I tell you, like she was doing a cartwheel today, and you're like, yeah, okay. Well, and she was doing this, and she was watching her phone super loud, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you not as heated about this as I am? I'm
Yeah.
like, so confused, and then come to find out, like, oh, that's like normal.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Well, your upbringing was not normal. Your circumstances were abnormal, and you know, not your fault. That's just kind of what you view it as, right? And you viewed it as, but I called you out on it. Like in here, I was like, look, this is a you problem.
Yeah.
This is definitely a you problem.
100%.
And so I'm proud that you found the other side, and I get to watch it a little bit closer than most, and you're doing a really good job. You're doing a really good job. So about this podcast, you were pretty instrumental in this for a couple different reasons. I know you called Mike out at one point because I kind of kept my hands off of it for a minute, and he was just like, yeah, we need to do this and we need to do that. And I'm like, all right, man, well, let me know whenever you're ready. And I think at one point he told me like you had kind of booted him in the ass and been like, you've been talking about doing this fucking podcast wherever. Why don't you just fucking do it?
Oh yeah.
You know, you were like, just fucking get in there and start making some shit happen. I after he told me that, I saw a little turn. And then you guys had a little road bump.
Oh yeah.
Right before all these walls came up, you guys had a little bit of a rough time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really when the walls came up.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, thanks for giving them a rough time.
Oh Oh yeah.
Because without that rough time,
3 a.m, I hear like drills and saws going.
I ain't letting this motherfucker sleep. She had me all heated. Bitch, you ain't sleeping for shit tonight.
Oh, he was making. She had the TV all the way up too, playing like his sad music. What is that? What is that song you always play that pisses me off?
Fuck.
Like he plays it so much when he's upset that now I've connected it to like when he's upset. I'm like, come on,
yeah,
dude.
you know, you're like, oh, fuck.
What is
He's
it?
mad again.
Yeah.
Oh, whiskey, won't you go away? That song.
That's one of that. I have the whole playlist.
Oh yeah.
It's the whole Destiny Fuck Yourself playlist, and that's what it's called.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. I just made that up.
No, but every time he's upset, like he plays like a song, like certain songs or whatever. So now I've connected those songs to him being upset.
Isn't
When
it
he
weird
plays
how
it-
that happens though? Like even
Yes.
even in my relationship with Amy, it's like I come in and I can kind of spot what mood she's gonna be in by the, and I'm like, shit, she's listening to Amy Winehouse. She's gonna be sassy as fuck. Like like
My favorite thing is when we
Fleetwood Mac. We're
Yeah, making babies.
yeah.
when we go on like a longer road trip. Amy, I need to know if y'all do this. When you go on a long road trip, we'll start bickering at each other. We get pissed off, and we're going back and forth between like he's Bluetoothing his phone, I'm Bluetoothing mine, and I'm playing a song that's like, you know, like fuck you, like I don't need a man, whatever kind of song, and then he plays one back at me. So now we're having like a song war back and forth. We're like talking shit with the music.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
We'll go on for an hour and then afterwards we'll be like, all right, it's good. Like, you want to get like Chick-fil-A or something?
Yeah. Well, no, we don't. No, we don't. Let's not be fair. Let's not be fair. We're going to be fair right now. This is the way it goes on our road trips. I start playing a podcast. She's like, I mean, can we just like play? And I'm like, okay. Then I do it. I'm like, okay, we're listening to my playlist. I have the most eccentric playlist and like musical taste of anyone you've ever met.
As in what? Like top 3 artists?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look them up. But I'm just saying, like, it can literally go from death metal to Motown to fucking Tejano to country, like all within the same, like 4 songs, all kinds of crazy different shit. She can't just, she's like, can we just like chill?
No, that's how I feel. You gotta pick a
to
genre.
No, like in my playlist, I just put it on shuffle and we're rolling, and it's gonna be, Slayer followed by fucking New Edition or something like that, and it's a little nerve wracking, but it's just the way my brain works. So we settle on 93.3. Yeah, just
He always, I'm trying to, we went on a long
But
road trip. I'm
fucking-
trying to listen to like hype music, and he's putting on like Kayla, like the Christian station, and I'm like,
Bro, I'm all about K-Love right now.
I love it too, but not when we're driving for 4.5 hours. Like that's like,
We're going to watch. Who are we going to watch?
ooh, mercy me.
Mercy Me. Y'all want to go? It's here in Cedar Park on
is it?
May 8th.
Cedar Park Center. I don't know that it's really my scene, but I'll listen to him.
Mercy Me's legit. Even Kaylin's going. Kaylin even wanted to go to that one.
Really? You know, probably my kids would be really into that.
You know, I talked to a few people and they said like they literally, you can feel God in the room. Like the worship is so strong.
Yeah, Chad was telling me today at work, he's like, fucking jealous that you're going.
Yeah.
He said, like, you're going to feel all the energy in that place.
Yeah.
You're going to feel it all.
Maybe I need that.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs to be a little less Slayer and a little more Mercy Me.
No, Mercy Me.
That sounds like a badass metal band, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Mercy Me sounds pretty hardcore. You could have fooled me and said, hey, dude, we're going to go see this
We're gonna
fucking
go see
band.
This band.
It's called Mercy Me. I'd be like, I'm fucking in. I'd get there and be like,
And then all of a sudden you're praising.
yeah, then just the hands go
Just
up. I'm like, all right.
talking tongues and let's go.
All right, I'm in there.
Now, I won't lie. Look, we go to church, but if someone starts speaking tongues near me, that hasn't happened yet, not at our church, but that will throw me for a loop. That would kind of scare me.
I've seen videos of that shit, and it is like one of the more disturbing scenes that I
My
could
dad
fucking
was
think of.
Pentecostal, and they used to do it.
Yeah.
And they would do the whole,
Yeah.
people would, and like, bro, as a 7-year-old, looking like I'm Catholic. We don't do that in Catholic. We go there and do our little rosaries, eat a piece of bread, drink a little wine, and we bounce. They're doing like the whole jumping around and running around and knocking people down. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like
That shit's wild,
it
dude.
was as an 8-year-old, it's like, thank God he only ever came and got me every 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, dude.
At least you showed up.
Well, sorry. Don't mean to throw that at you.
Oh
The good thing he missed out on so many of them fucking days. Because, man, I couldn't have handled much of that.
Yeah.
To another girl that's growing up that went through what you went through,
Yeah.
right? And maybe other things that you haven't talked about that you went through, right? Do you want to talk about any of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what else did you go through as a kid?
Yeah, I starting at the age of 6 to when I was 14 years old, I was molested by someone that was very close to me in my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you how did that affect you? You felt like it was your fault, right?
100%. I think more so as a kid, like I want to say like for the first few years, I didn't really understand what was happening. He was definitely like a monster in a closet to me. And it didn't really make sense. I remember when I was like 8 years old, my mom and I were getting ready to go to church. My siblings were in the car. And I tried to tell her, and I've never had a moment like this except for that one day. I tried to tell her, and my stomach dropped, and I literally couldn't get the words out of my mouth. Like, I couldn't explain it to her. And part of me kind of knew that she wouldn't believe me if I tried.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I went about life just not, like, saying anything and, you know, having that confusion for a long time. And I did a lot of work trying to avoid being around him. And, you know, that worked when it did. And there were times I couldn't get away, you know, and it was what it was. And I think, like, the thing that I think really fucked me up was when it stopped. And I know that sounds crazy, but it felt like all of my self-worth had just been, like, ripped away. Like, there was nothing left to me. Like I'm useless now. Like, what does that even mean? I literally didn't understand why it happened to begin with. And like I just felt disgusting at that point. Like, so gross. Like,
That actually makes a lot of sense, though. Like, I would have never thought that until you said it. That makes a lot of sense.
like it almost like kind of tore me up to not, like, that's when I started cutting myself. That's when I started getting really, really fucking depressed, you know, like, you know, and even like all throughout middle school and like most of high school, like I wore the biggest like baggy clothes ever because I had felt so sexualized for so long that like I couldn't even like be flattering to myself. Like I felt so weird about who I was because of that. I also like, you know, didn't have a father. That happened to me, you know, and then, you know, going through middle school and high school, like feeling worthless. And at that point, like when someone told me that they loved me or when someone came in my life, I became like attached to them, like all the time, like that codependency because I didn't know, you know, how
Like if a guy or something like that.
100%.
Yeah,
like
a
I
boyfriend.
would instantly get attached. It didn't take much for me either because, you know, my life, there's always people going in and out of it. And at that point, I had no self-respect or self-love. And so like I would put all my love into somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
All of any sort of anything, I'd put it into that person. And then when that wouldn't work out, I'd have to find something else to do, you know? And I truly wish that I would have, you know, told someone at the church. Like I went to the same church from my dedication till when I was 16 years old. And I was very involved in the church. I was
When
there.
you say your dedication, what's that mean?
It's like Catholics get, like, what is it, christened?
Yeah.
We get dedicated, not baptized, but like we dedicate the child to the church.
So how old is that normally?
Like, I want to say like within the first like 2 years, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I went there for my entire life, and then I was really involved too. Like from 6th grade till my sophomore year, I was there 5 days a week after school, like setting up and singing at the church, and you know that was my everyday. Like my best friends were the church. Like that was what it was.
Were you also going to church too to get away from this person?
100%.
Yeah.
And not just that, but like praying at that point too. I think I got more into the prayer when it stopped, because I was like, I need you to show me like what to do now, like, you know, praying to kind of find a way and everything. But like that too didn't feel like enough, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like there was still that, like, that worthlessness, and that led me even more so towards the drugs. Like that's what I said earlier, like yeah, I started off doing high school stuff, you know, but there was so much leading into that, like so much pain, you know, like trying to cover it up and everything. And I think it got to a point where like when I was on the drugs, I couldn't feel it anymore. Like it didn't hurt as bad. And not just that, like 90% of the time I can't remember where my phone was.
Yeah.
I can remember this motherfucker right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
you know, and that helped a lot too. And so, you know, it got to the point where I was like, okay, I found a way to fill this gap. And like, I like to think of like the drugs as like kind of like a massive like drill, like just kind of drilling into your soul. And eventually I had this massive gap in my life that like no drug could fix. And I tried to fix it with God, and that wasn't working. I tried to fucking fill it with people and men and more drugs and more parties and so many different things, and it just wasn't working. And you know, I remember the day that I decided to go get sober. I was sitting in my bathroom like fucking feet in a sink trying to like get high, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I did not at all, like, physically I hadn't changed much aside from the fact that I looked fucking gross and like I was 100 pounds smaller than I was before. But like my soul looked tired, and I've never felt that way before. Like that, the fact that like spiritually I was just like kind of at a loss, you know. And I, you know, that same day I ended up getting a call from a friend of mine who had already come to Austin to get clean herself, and I ended up like packing up and just going straight there. But if I could go like back to to some other girl or to myself as a kid, like I would tell her, like, you know, like, this isn't your fault. You're not worthless. Don't, like, you know, let yourself fall apart. Tell somebody. I wish I would have told somebody at the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020 when it comes to stuff like that. At least from what I've like watched,
Yeah.
you know, I watched documentaries on it and listening to you, and it's like that's how the hooks get put in, right? Is by making it feel like it's you and it's your fault and it's your doing.
And I was blamed for it. Like, yeah.
I'm sure. Like, I'm sure there's kind of, I mean, a predator like that in that frame of mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're gonna do. They're
Oh,
gonna.
I was blamed by my mother.
You were.
I was, my mother told me that this was my fault, that she didn't believe me, but if it did actually happen, it was my fault. It was my doing, and the reason that my family had fallen apart was because of me.
Whoa.
At 16 years
That's
old.
when you told her, right?
Yeah, I remember I was sitting, my sister had come to me at the time, and I'm not going to get too much into that, but she had come to me and she had told me about some weird comments that he was making towards her, and I remember that's how it started off for me. Some inappropriate, like, physical touch that was happening too, and that kind of set in my mind. Like, I made a promise to myself when I finally decided, I think I was like 12 years old, like, I was like, okay, like, it's too late for me. I'm not going to say anything, but if anything ever happens to my sister, I'll say something, right? And so I did that, and I went outside, and I got my brother, and I brought him in my closet, and I sat in there with him and cried, and I told him everything. My brother believed me without a doubt, instantly. And he was like, I'll go with you and tell her. And I told him, like, no, don't worry about it. I'll do it myself, right? My brother sat in the living room, and I was outside with my mom, and she was smoking, and I told her, and she looked me in the eye and said, no. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, she told me, like, you're a liar. Like, this isn't true. If it was true, why'd you wait so long? Why this? Why that? You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. And my brother came out, and he was like, Mom, it's true. Like, I believe her. Like, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but he's fucking weird. You know? And so we're all doing this, and my brother's sitting there defending me, like with everything that he's got. And even at the end of all of that, my mom didn't believe me still. But she was like, fine, like, you know, we'll do what we got to do. And my mom told me, like, but you got to do what's best for the family. So at 16 years old,
Still
I was
hearing it.
told not to go to the police, not to stand up for myself, not to any of these things. My mom had very little self-worth herself. Like, you know, she wasn't going to stand up for me, and she wouldn't stand up for herself either. So, but still at 16, I'm hearing that phrase again. You got to do what's best for the family. You got to do what's best for the family. So I didn't say anything. And we packed up and we moved. That was supposed to make it better magically. But now because we had to move, and now because my mom was having to do this and this and this to get us by, like I remember working at Taco Bell, giving my mom electrical money because, you know, she couldn't do it on her own, or, you know, like.
This person supported y'all's family pretty much, right?
100% supported us fully. And when we had to move, that support went away, and my mom had to start working really hard and like doing all these things. I got a job too, and I had been working, but not to put food on the table at that point. But now I was doing those things, and I was doing what's best for the family. So I was working at Taco Bell, like, and then because of COVID too, my mom was like, "Well, you can put in extra hours because you don't have to actually go to school." So now I have no friends in this new district that I'm in. Me and my brother's already going to these motel parties at that point. Like at this point, this is where we hit the meth era with him, and me doing acid and shrooms and smoking weed every day and all this stuff.
For sure.
Now I'm doing shit with my mom as well. But I'm working till the 2 a.m. at Taco Bell, like all the time, like throughout the week or whatever. I'm not sleeping. I'm on drugs and shit. I'm not even doing my schoolwork. I almost failed my junior year because I had missed 87 assignments because I was working my ass off to help out. Like I ended up having to go to alternative school, not because I was smart. I always tell people, I graduated early. They're like, "Oh, you're smart." Like, no, I almost failed. Like, graduated early because I had to.
Yeah.
But it was just so rough. But the whole time we were in that situation, it was always like, well, you know, if you hadn't said anything, we wouldn't be in this situation. If you hadn't done this, if you would have done this better, whatever, we wouldn't be in this situation. So now I have this blame on me, right? And my brother's going to jail, and he's getting caught up with this. My life is falling apart. My mom's a fucking shit show. I hate myself at this point. Now I'm like having these real, like, you know, in my life thoughts at this point. I'm going through it at 16, 17 years old. And it got to a point where like I was like, I couldn't even go to church anymore. I was like, I prayed every day. I worshiped every day. I literally didn't skip a beat. I would go to the Starbucks with invitations from my church, inviting random people. I did Bible studies. I went to church camp. Everything that you could do right, I did it, regardless of the molestation, regardless of the things that were happening, regardless of the drugs, the way that my life was falling apart at the time. I still did all these things, and I just could not understand why things were going the way they were going. Like, I put so much effort into...
And kind of blamed it on God.
100%. And because I had no one else to blame it on but myself and him. You know?
I mean, again, hindsight.
Yeah.
Right? But you didn't have a support system, dude.
Not at all.
Like, marching through life with the support system is hard enough. It's already going to be pretty fucking tough, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be peaks and valleys to that with the best of support systems. You didn't have that.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that it is.
100%. And I think at the time too, like my only person, the better part of my family, my best friend, was on drugs and going to prison. So he literally wasn't there for me. I was stuck with my mom and my sister, who did everything my mom did, agreed with everything my mom said, and just feeling terrible about myself all the time. And I, graduated high school. I went directly into the workforce, like trying to like make money and stuff. My mom was charging me $650 a week to share a bedroom and a bathroom with my sister. Like,
damn,
just not doing well. And then my brother got out of prison. My mom kicked me out because she wanted to make room for him. I was never really accepted in my own family. Like, my mom, I did not get along with my mom super well. But I also didn't have like affection. Like it almost, and I, this too, like when his daughter used to give me a hug or whatever, I was so weirded out by it. And he kept trying to ask me why. Like I had to take a step back and realize that my family is not affectionate at all. Like I've never had a full hug from my mom ever in my life. I've gotten side hugs and stuff. My mom was never one for like chatting with us and things like that. But like, there wasn't really much of a support system, but there also wasn't any affection. Like crying is a sign of weakness. Like, I always had to be like kind of like stronger. My mom would always say I was too emotional, and so I try to like ball that up a little bit, but I think when I got sober too, that's when like the waterworks started. Like I felt everything all over again. And like, that was pretty like, that was really wild feeling.
Well, you had to be stronger for your brother and for your sister, but also for your mom. Like, I never really paid attention until, like, he just brought it up, like, you were the saving grace for your family.
Kind of the rock.
You were the rock. Like, you were the one that kept it together.
That's what it sounds like, and that's no position for
Any kid.
any kid of any age to be.
Even an 18-year-old, I couldn't. There ain't fucking.
Yeah.
I don't even know about life to be able to keep a family together. You know what I mean?
I think that's something too that like I appreciate more so now is like I didn't realize how much I had let, like, for example, my mom like push me over or get in my head. Like my mom was always making fat comments too, so I had no self-esteem at all growing up. Like nothing. I already felt worthless. I was already blamed for everything, and that's why the drugs helped so much because I felt like 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Like I was the life
Felt
of
like
the party.
you belonged.
I mean, how can you not? Like I was not just that, I was so willing to do whatever it took to like make like the people around me like me. Like they're not even friends, like, you know, but like people, like I want them to like me so bad that I was like the people pleaser. I was doing this, trying to get it done. But like even my mom, like I used to make so many excuses, like, you know, well, she's a single parent, she's this, she's that, whatever, right? But like at the same time, like even now I look back and I'm like, I, as an adult, will never understand why things played out the way that they played out. All I can do now is like forgive and like just move on with my life the way that it's supposed to be now. Like I'm happy now, and that's another reason why like I was super fucking scared to come on this podcast. And I sit here all the time and watch y'all, but I think the main thing has to do with a lot like telling your story is terrifying, you know, but I also am like hoping, like I talked to my brother before this and he was like, somebody somewhere is gonna have been through what you've been through. So at least you'll help someone else, and that's like kind of like a really exciting thing to have in your mind.
Well, I think that, you know, especially like being in rooms the way that you and I have been, that women that turn to addiction, the majority of them have been wronged by somebody that was supposed to love and care for them.
Typically a man.
Yeah.
I mean,
typically a man.
And it's there. I don't know what the statistic is, but I remember hearing it one time. But like a women's prison, they're all in there because of a dude, like, or like an overwhelming like percentage of them are in there because they just got mixed up with the wrong dude. And I mean, it kind of is what it is, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it starts at such a young age.
Absolutely.
Like
I remember
not having your dad there.
Yeah, well, I remember as a kid too, like my mom had men in and out of the house 24/7, and then, you know, when she was married, that wasn't necessarily an issue. But my mom was also, when she was married, she was so miserable with just, I guess, her life because she wasn't working, she didn't go anywhere, whatever. And so she was always drinking, always smoking, like so drunk, so hungover, couldn't take us to school. Like that's where she was during that period. But when they got divorced and she ended up moving to Fort Worth with us or whatever, more men in and out of the house. Like I'm watching her bring a new dude in all the time, and so now I'm like, oh, okay, this is like I kind of normalized it in my head, and now I'm following that example as well.
Yeah.
In my own life,
Right.
you know,
That's all you knew. That was the example that you had put in front of you.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of like, you know, if you see, like, my mom used to always smoke in front of us, right? Cigarettes. But then she would say, when you get older, you shouldn't smoke.
yeah,
I'm like, well, that's a terrible fucking example, Mom.
yeah,
Because you're smoking 2 packs a day and you're telling me this is fucking terrible for
Yeah.
you. Of course I'm going to try to smoke whenever I get in that right age, you know? And that's one thing that I've always, even through my addiction, I've always been really careful with Kaylin about who I bring around her, even females. Like, you know, you're the first female that she's ever met.
Yeah.
Like, and she was 7 when she met you, or 6 or 7.
7.
7. You're the first female she ever met, because I didn't want her to see Dad bringing all these different girls around, whether I was sleeping around or not. I didn't want her to think that's normal, because then when she gets older, she's going to think, well, I've seen my dad doing it. This is probably normal, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, you and I have had conversations where we don't argue in front of Kaylin, right? And you packing and wanting to move, and me fucking saying, well, get the fuck out. We're not doing that either, because I don't want her to think this is a normal relationship. You pack, you move out, and then you move back in. You pack, move out, and move back in. And that's something, you set the example for your kids, and then your kids follow those examples, whether they're good or bad.
Yeah.
And that's, you didn't have a lot of good examples put in front of you.
Now I do, though. Like, now I get to watch you and all your, like, you guys, too. Like, watching everybody around me, like, be awesome and everything. And, like, now I know that I have a support group. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm struggling, like, I call his mom all the time and tell her, like, hey, your son's pissing me off. You need to talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But, like, at least I have somebody now to, like, to have that,
But you've also grown so much in the time that I've met you. Like, you were an old soul. I always tell you that. Even though you were young, you're an old soul, because you've seen so much. And you've been through so much. And it's amazing to me that you can forgive people the way that you do, because I don't fucking forgive motherfuckers like you do. And it's amazing that you're able to move past some of the stuff, even though it still comes up from time to time. But there's like not a lot of hate or anger in you, or I hate motherfuckers still to this day that have wronged me. Yeah. But I've seen you grow so much in the time frame that we've been together, that it's like you're inspiring to me, and I'm supposed to be the one that inspires you. I say it all the time, like, I'm older than you, but you've taught me just as much, if not more, than I've taught you. And I truly believe that.
Well, down to, like, grudges, too. Like, that doesn't help anybody. Like, that's
easier said than done. It fucking makes me feel good.
100%. But, like, that's something I've noticed, too, is, like, when I'm angry about something, like, 90% of the time, the motherfucker that I'm angry about doesn't even, like, they're not thinking about my ass. Like, that's,
yeah.
And there was this quote that I heard that it said, holding a grudge is like holding a vial of poison, but you're the only one that's getting hurt. I was like, damn.
What's the window when you told me?
Oh, close the window that's damaging you, no matter how beautiful the view is.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, man. These TikTok quotes were like
on
point.
Yeah, man. They get. Well, look, I want to end on something positive here, and you're a singer, you're a bit of a songbird, so I want to hear who. Let me do this, because this is an easy question, but it's gonna be really hard to answer. What's your favorite song?
Favorite song right now?
Nope.
Favorite song ever?
Ever.
Holy shit, that's
It's a pretty complicated question, right?
Bro, we should have brought the guitar out and let her play.
Can't. Got my nails done.
Yeah, she did that on purpose.
No, we got a piano in there.
Ooh, The Arsonist Lullaby by Hoyser.
Okay. All right. And who's your favorite band of all time?
Favorite band of all time.
Or artist. Doesn't have to be a band, I guess.
It's a hard one, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Zach Bryan. Yeah.
It's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Pretty awesome.
Next time you're going to sing on camera.
yeah. Next time we're not going to do the nails. We'll let you do a little ditty.
We wrote a song together the other day.
We did.
You wrote. No, it's not your first song. It's not your first song.
Oh.
You did Dirty You did Dirty Stank Pot.
Dirty Stink Pot. We need to release
we
that.
did actually. He helped me, and we did it together. We actually wrote and composed a song together, and it's fucking awesome.
No, you had it recorded. You had the video of it, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you showed me a little clip of it.
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. Where yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. But I don't care how good that song is. Dirty Stank Pot.
Dirty Stink Pots.
For sure.
Is the
We
fucking.
need to release it.
We should have that play as we're going out.
The
Joe, can
outro?
you do that? Can you play Dirty Stank Pot?
I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, he'll get you the clip. Ladies and gentlemen, Two Addicts and a Warrant, we are out. And just like that, Dirty Stank Pot.
We're gonna put a thing for Fume, a little link that you can go to. It's an inhaler, aromatherapy.
Yeah.
Aromatherapy.
Nicotine, it's nicotine free. It's aromatherapy. It's designed to help you get off of vapes.
Yes.
It is a fantastic company. Look, I don't really like doing any vapes or anything like that. And it's actually pretty cool.
Actually, it's not
It's
bad.
it's a pretty nice little relaxation. And so yeah, hop on. We actually have a
Yeah, we'll
right?
put it. Yeah, we'll put the code on if you want to go to their site. You can put our code and you'll get a discount.
Yeah, you get a
20% discount.
yeah,
or
it's a pretty good discount. So
Yeah.
you guys help support these people. They're helping support us. And again, Dirty Stank Pot.
Dirty Stink Pot.
Here it is.
We're gonna release it.
Two Addicts and a Moron. We are out.
Sometimes, when you rub my dirty stink pot, it makes me droopy inside. Pot. Rubbing on my dirty stink pot. Up in your face, hit you with mace. Rubbing on your ass, finger in your butt. Stanky, 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 stank. Rubbing on my dirty stink pot. Fucking your mom, your sister too, eating your pussy, rubbing their ass from the dirty sound. Rubbing on your pussy, rubbing on your mom's ass, sticking your finger in my ass too, rub my ball sack, lick my asshole, lick on my